All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Thursday. We have jobless claims. We had the Fed meeting yesterday. We had Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla earnings yesterday evening. The stock doing the best is actually one of the stocks I'm, green in. Meta up to 730s after earnings. 730s for Meta. You love to see it. Again, I told you guys I was in Meta yesterday. And yeah, I definitely like this gap up. Feels good, man. Feels good. Meta up to 728 right now. Gold and silver also breaking all-time highs. If you take a look at silver, silver's at 119s right now. So silver broke all-time highs, especially if we look at silver futures. They are up. New all-time highs in silver futures are 120 plus now for silver futures. 120. I was wondering if silver would break 100. I got in silver. I think it was around the 80s, if I remember correctly. But man, $120 an ounce for silver right now. Gold all the way up to $5,600 an ounce today. It's at 55s now, but hit 56 earlier. Bitcoin still sitting around 88s, 87s, in the 80s still. Not really moving too much there. But man, what a crazy market. Again, today we have Apple earnings. Later we got jobless claims, unemployment going live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So we got more stuff coming out today. It's not an empty day either. And yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens here. Let me know what you guys think. Look at Tesla as well. So look, Tesla is up slightly from earnings. It's up to 441s. Microsoft is down from their earnings report. They're at 447s. We did have some companies drop earnings this morning. We had Marsh and McClellan. They posted 212, expected 198, revenue of 6.6 billion. They expected 6.56, so a little bit better than expected. Their Comcast posted 84 cents adjusted EPS. They expected 73 cents, revenue of 32.3. They expected 32.3, so flat revenue, but a little bit better EPS than expected. Altria Group posted 130s versus 132s, net revenue of 5.08 billion versus 5.02 billion expected, so a little bit better there. Nasdaq and DAQ posted 96 cent EPS on 92 expected, 1.39 billion versus 1.37 billion expected. So most companies are beating EPS and revenue, but today will be interesting. We got jobless claims, unemployment. It's expected at 206K for jobless claims, 206,000. Yeah. See what we get. Good to be here. It's good to be here. We had news that Blackstone is planning one of the largest IPO pipelines in history, according to the Financial Times. Sherwin-Williams also posted earnings not that long ago. They posted 223 adjusted EPS versus 216 expected. Net sales of 5.6 billion. They expected 5.55. I don't know about you guys, but I root against Comcast, personally. It's just my own personal bias. I just dislike Comcast as a company. I've had a grudge with them for years. They'll lock you in some type of rate for, their digital cable, and then whenever you actually get your bill, it's like 40-50% higher, and then when you ask them about it, they're basically just plead the fifth. They say, I don't know anything. What are you talking about? We never told you your bill would be $80 a month. Now it's $140. So yeah, Lockheed Martin and U.S. Department of War signed a framework pact as well. And again, we got jobless claims today. We have Apple earnings after the closing bell as well. We got Caterpillar Q4 earnings that just came out. They posted 516 versus 469 expected, revenue of 19.13 versus 17.9. So Caterpillar did pretty good for their earnings. I'm assuming they're up. Here's Caterpillar. They're not up. Xerox, Valero also released some numbers here. Here's Caterpillar's numbers. I'll put them up in chat if you want to check it out. But here's Caterpillar's numbers. Buenos dias, hermano. What's up, brother? Good to see you, dude. SoFi to 30. Yeah, so this morning, again, we did have some earnings come out. I'm in SoFi. I wanted to go. Mastercard's supposed to release at 8 a.m. That's in 40 minutes. Caterpillar's out. Lockheed Martin, I believe they're out, but maybe not. Nokia came out with 21 cent EPS versus 17 expected. 695 expected revenue. They posted 7.13. The Nokia BDPS in revenue, Blackstone BDPS in revenue, NASDAQ BDPS in revenue, Royal Caribbean Cruises missed EPS and missed revenue, Altria missed EPS and revenue, or beat revenue, missed EPS, beat revenue. And that's basically all the big boys. Again, we have Apple earnings after the bell today. Apple's expecting 265 EPS on revenue of 137.4 billion. SanDisk is coming out after the closing bell as well. But we will be covering Apple. We'll see what happens there. Notice what we're going to get for that. Reuters and rare earths. I'll have to check into that. What's up, Sam? What's up, Kay? Today's unemployment claims bullish or bearish. I wouldn't say it's either one. We'll just have to wait and see. I really don't know what we're going to get for that type of thing. That's today's jobless claims. Go higher or lower versus expected go 6K. Go to the poll. Yeah, Lockheed Martin just came out with their numbers. I'll put these up in the chat as well. Here's Lockheed Martin. LMT. I almost shorted this 200 exponential rejection here. Look at Lockheed Martin. They're bumping up on this. They posted 580 EPS, 202 expected, 587. Okay, hold on. Okay, so revenue came in better than expected. They missed EPS though, Lockheed Martin, but they are reacting really, really well. They're up to almost 640s. So Lockheed Martin pushing. Microsoft, I believe it's still down. Yeah, Microsoft never bounced back here. I was thinking about buying it up here, but I have to look at what the numbers are for this thing before I do. And 54% so far on the votes think jobless claims are going to come in lower than expected. Lower jobless claims would mean stronger jobs. All right, so lower claims would be stronger jobs. We'll see if that's what happens. But again, lower claims equals stronger job numbers. Again, I was going to short this right here. I didn't, but I should have. Thank you for not having an intro. I mean, look, what am I really going to have an intro for? I mean, maybe I'll get one day. I don't know. But I'm just jumping in. We're just starting the stream, you know? Look at the NASDAQ dip here. So the NASDAQ's coming down a little bit. Silver, again, at all-time highs. Again, 119.37. New all-time highs, 120.50 for silver. Futures, that is. We got big earnings coming out over the last 24 hours and today. Try to see if there's any updates to a government shutdown. I don't think there is. A partial shutdown is not described as increasingly likely, but there's still a narrow path to a last-minute deal. The fight is over DHS and ICE funding in the 6-bill package that expires January 30th. About half of federal agencies would lose funding if it doesn't pass. Senate Dems are vowing to block the current 6-bill minibus unless DHS is carved out or conditions are added, while the right warns the House will reject any Senate changes. One emerging off-ramp, though, is pass the 5 non-DHS bills now and do a short CR just for DHS, then negotiate. So the president and Chuck are reportedly discussing some version of this, but nothing is locked in. Prediction markets are still showing 75 to 80% chance. It's the base case as a partial shutdown just after the deadline. All right, so that's the news. Hopefully they get a deal done. I agree with that, bro. Like, y'all freaking pass everything else. Leave DHS out of there. And then negotiate that after you do a continuing resolution, you know, a short one. Give, you know what I mean? Like, do a 2-week CR. Figure it out. Both sides say something nice about the other one. And don't let the government shut down. You know? Palantir. I mean, Palantir, it's down. You know, it's hard. Like, okay, with Palantir, I look at it in a couple different ways, honestly. I think it might grow into these valuations. But the PE ratio is still ridiculously high for Palantir, right? But I think considering the health of their business overall, I think they'll probably grow into their valuations. And so maybe if you're, again, not an investment professional, let me throw this out there. Again, not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Do not copy me. I might be wrong. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm talking about. Do not copy me here, guys. Not an investment professional. Nothing's investment advice. All that good stuff. Now, with that said, I think if you buy Palantir here and hold it long term, it's probably going to make you money. And when I say long term, I mean a decade plus. But short term, there's obviously risks in buying something that has hundreds of, 100 plus PE ratio. But I think they'll probably grow into it. PE ratio is just price to earnings. It's the ratio of price to earnings, specifically EPS. Like, I could calculate Palantir's PE ratio pretty quick, honestly. Like, look, the way you calculate a PE is you add up the last four quarters of EPS, or get the yearly EPS, and then you add that to each other and then divide that by the share price. All right, so Palantir last posted, Palantir earnings are February 2nd. All right. And so let's just assume Palantir comes in as expected for their next earnings report. And we'll base the PE ratio that we're getting off of that, because I'm assuming they're going to beat, especially Palantir. So 23 cents, hold on, 0.23 plus 0.21 plus 0.16 plus 0.13. Okay, so this is their yearly EPS, their yearly earnings per share. It's 73 cents. All right, now, if we take their share price, remember 73 cents. If we take their share price, which is about 159, and then we divide that by 73 cents, we get a PE ratio of 217. That's a high PE ratio. A good PE ratio should be low, because you want to have a more even price to earnings, if that makes sense, right? So a good PE ratio should be low. It should be like 20, 30, under 50 preferably, obviously. So 200 plus PE ratio is high. It means that they're trading at a premium relative to what they earn. All right. Now, this could be seen as good or bad. It's mostly bad, but companies that are really successful can also be seen as growing into their earnings a little bit over time. And that's kind of what I was saying as well. So I'm not the biggest bear on Palantir long term. I think it's probably going to go up long term, but short term, be careful. Is essentially what I'm saying. Looks cheap at the moment. Well, define cheap. 215 PE. Kind of high. And that's me being nice and basing it off of their upcoming quarter expected EPS, right? So if they come in lower than that, their next quarter is actually worse than that. They'll probably come in higher, though, so it might actually be a little better than this, but I doubt much. Yeah, they got a lot of proving to do, essentially. Their forward PE 174 is still pretty high. Microsoft being down is probably due to them screwing up all their recent updates to Win 11 so bad, causing multiple emergency update repairs just in weeks, affecting business worldwide. Yeah, I paused all updates, dude. I'm not doing that with Microsoft, bro. Like, they make up a reason to update your computer literally every week, and a lot of the times after the updates, your computer's unstable for a period of time. So for a streamer like me, obviously that's not what I want. I don't want instability. I want stability here. I'm still kind of mad though, guys. I was going to short the 200 exponential. Look at this head and shoulders exactly at the 200 exponential that I like shorting and buying under. Look, shoulder, shoulder, head. Beautiful head and shoulders right around the 200 exponential. I wish I would have taken that trade. I was really honestly genuinely looking at it. I just didn't. I rotated my AMD into Palantir. See Boeing, where they report 400 PE now, negative 107. Yeah, I mean, Boeing's had an interesting year. Doing a little bit better last year, though, than it did the previous year. Like, the previous year, it had some bad news come out that dumped it. Like, it's been interesting the last few years for Boeing. Again, Meta's been creeping up all morning. Meta's at 730s basically right now. So Meta making moves this morning. Any stocks you like buying today? And again, we do have jobless claims unemployment in about 57 minutes here. 57 minutes for jobless claims unemployment. Let's see what we get. Oh. And then Apple earnings, I believe. What happened to Natty Gas? Is Natty Gas down? Yeah, Natty Gas is back down to normal after the winter storm hit and left. Oil today is up to $64 a barrel. Hit 65s earlier this morning. The oil basically at $65 a barrel right now. Interesting. Let's see if it continues. Instability in the Middle East. Can you explain the neckline and where you would have entered? I would have entered on the second test here, personally. Again, here's the head. Here's one shoulder, the first shoulder. Once I see this set up, and then once I see the dip back down, I'm buying the second. I'm shorting the second bounce up here if I take this type of trade on the second shoulder that forms. And again, I'm using the 200 exponential here as like my guide and where to enter, and you can see that's kind of where the shoulders are. It's also kind of like a sign of weakness. The reason this pattern works is because, you know, we're trying to get over the 200 exponential here, right? But when we get dumped down under it in a profound way and then move back up to retest it, everybody sees the head and shoulders at that point, and they start exiting here or shorting here, and that pushes it down quick. And so that's generally what I try to do. That's just me. Everybody's different. Not an investment professional, but that's how I target this. TSM did for me last quarter. Earning reversals today. Maybe. We'll see what the opening bell looks like today. I think that should be pretty interesting. Silver futures are now at 119. Let me correct this. All right, guys. Again, we're here. Yeah, yesterday was interesting. Today we have Apple earnings. It's not as busy as it was yesterday. Yesterday we had the Fed meeting. We had Meta, Microsoft, Tesla earnings. We had the president speak again. I'm trying to see if he's speaking again today. I don't think he. But today, jobless claims. We also have the trade balance data for November, the delayed data. It's expected at negative 43.4 billion. Tomorrow we have PPI inflation. So tomorrow we actually have PPI inflation. Yeah, I mean, technical patterns work. Like, okay. Sometimes you'll look at people's charts and they'll be like, you know what I mean? You'll look at people's charts and they'll look like this over here, right? You just can't even see the charts after a certain point. You know, at a certain point, I feel like they're just trying to look smart. They're trying to look deep, you know, like, ooh, look at all this stuff. He mustn't really know his thing. But when you bring it down to what the truth is in technical trading, technical patterns work because other people think they work, right? And so with that logic, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to look at the most obvious things in markets, the most obvious patterns, the most obvious technical patterns and indicators. It's one of the reasons I use the 200 exponential a lot. Why? Because it's a super long-term moving average that a lot of different time frame traders and investors are looking at, right? So a lot of people are watching this 200 exponential because it's such a long-term moving average. And, you know, it's not the 9 or the 12 or the 15 or the 18 or all these shorter-term ones that have a much smaller population of people watching them. You know, and when you bring it into actual patterns as well, the most obvious, simple patterns are the ones that generally work the best. The most obvious, simple patterns, like a pivot to the 200 exponential, head and shoulders pattern. The most generic patterns are the ones that work the best. Why? Because it has the largest volume of people that are interested in those patterns. And they're the ones that are going to help it follow through versus a more obscure pattern that might have a couple people watch it. That's not going to have follow through. Nobody looks at that pattern, you know? And so you got to look at technicals with that understanding, which is that you're trying to find the most popular thing, the most watched thing. And it's not one of those super complicated charts that people always throw up usually. That's why dip buys work so much. All right, NASDAQ is flushing down. NASDAQ just cracked lows here this morning. And NASDAQ down to 26 ones. I don't see any news that came out that would drive this down, but NASDAQ just cracked lows. Again, I'm looking at Meta's pulling back a little bit. Microsoft's okay. Tesla's dropping down. It's at 440s right now. We do have Apple earnings today. Apple's pulling back a little bit as well. Again, the SPY's at 690s. S&P broke 7,000 yesterday, but then it dipped back down underneath it here. Look at this. Look at this move here. This is probably news related. There's probably some type of catalyst here. Let me look. I'm looking here. Hold on. Give me a second. I don't see anything on the tape, though, on any of the tapes that I use. I see nothing going on right now. But maybe we'll get some delayed news here. Yeah, we had Lockheed Martin. Yeah, we had Parker Hannafin drop earnings 7 minutes ago. This might just be a breakdown. Look at that Bitcoin. Bitcoin's dipping down too here. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin down to 87 sevens right now. Take a look at Nvidia. Could be Nvidia related. We did see a turn in Nvidia here. Nvidia down to 191s right now, but it is over 190 still, which is good. Yeah, I don't see anything dropping right now that might push things. I can check Truth Socials. The president tweeted about an hour ago, but that's it. Yeah, there's no really breaking tweets here. We are seeing some pressure though on the downside here. Look at this drop, 26,165s. Get Nvidia down slightly. Maybe Nvidia's driving it down a little bit here. And I'm in Netflix too. I'm trying to see what Netflix does also. Expecting Tesla to dump today. Defense stock surprised me holding up. Red or green day today, guys? Put it out in chat. Red or green day? Let me know. So far, we're definitely dropping down early in pre-market, but the Nasdaq itself is red on the day. I don't know where it closed yesterday, though. I'll have to look. Yeah, so Nasdaq is red. If you look at it. SPY is red. Or SPY is green, I mean. E-mini is flat. Silver's green. Gold is green, obviously. Again, Meta, big stock today. Very green. Up to 720s right now. Green, red, red. Red day. Green, 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 red. We need to pull back green, but I just think green for dream chasers, red for realists. Starting to feel like a red day. Yeah, I mean, this pullback is not small necessarily here. Nasdaq. So it's not a small dip. Story is France is dumping American tech. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything on the tape. It looks like it's in the video. On saying the same. Silver dipping down though. Silver's up to all-time highs. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia's at 191s right now. We're looking at the strength of microchips. Red, expect red. Basically, we're watching Apple and Nvidia. Apple earnings after the closing bell today. There's the Nasdaq cracking lows again. Again, Apple down to 161s, 162s. "45 minutes until jobless claims unemployment's come out, so. Looking at our poll, we asked people, does jobless claims unemployment come in higher or lower than the 206K expected? 57% think higher. 43% think lower here. No, jobless claims unemployment is one of the more real-time updates. The jobless claims unemployment is a week-to-week unemployment filings report. So it happens every week on Thursday, and it's real-time. It's from last week. Versus some of this old data we've gotten from November. Tomorrow's PPI inflation data is delayed, but it's delayed from December. So it's not super delayed. The closer inflation data we've seen, it's expected tomorrow at 0.2% on the month and 2.7% on the year for tomorrow's PPI inflation data. Core is expected at 0.3% on the month tomorrow, 2.9% on the year. Core PPI inflation. PPI is wholesale business. It's called the producer price index. Gonna be another V-shaped recovery and then go sideways. Maybe. Europe's dumping US bonds. Yeah, Tesla, again, is going to be winding down some models here, specifically Model S and X, and then using investments into XAI with Tesla funds. The thing about it, like, I saw somebody ask this question earlier. It's a little bit more speculative a bet. Like, that's assuming here that, that's assuming that Optimus and Robotaxi scales fast, you know, because if it doesn't, he's going to be sacrificing some of the old business with more speculation here. And so that's the risk for Tesla. But I do think the future is robotics. So I don't know if it's a bad bet. We'll see what happens. See what happens. Next 2 days will be very red. Doesn't have to make logical sense. Higher than expected jobs numbers today would be bullish for Bitcoin, right? Maybe. I mean, Bitcoin wants easing. Weaker jobs means potentially more easing, and so I'm not really sure what the Bitcoin dynamic with jobless claims. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I really don't know what that dynamic is like with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin wants easing, and so anything that might contribute to more easing could make Bitcoin go higher. And one of the things that might contribute to more easing is weaker jobs data, so we'll have to see what happens on that front, but again, Meta's flying high this morning after good numbers here yesterday. You highlight yesterday's earnings. I mean, yeah, you can always follow me on x.com at beginner trades if you want to see some recaps of those. They're on my page. Again, Tesla posted 50-cent EPS. They expected 45 cents. Revenue of 24.9. They expected 24.7. Meta posted 888 EPS versus 802 expected. Revenue of 59.89 billion versus expected 58 something. So better than expected revenue and EPS. They also see first quarter revenue at 53.5 to 56.5 versus 51 expected. So they raised guidance. Meta beat and raised, and Meta's up a lot from their earnings report. Microsoft posted 516 EPS, which was a big beat actually. Revenue of 81.27 to expected 80. So a beat in EPS and revenue. But still, other stuff with Microsoft made it drop, like cloud stuff. And so Tesla put out a statement that said, in 2026, we will further invest in the infrastructure needed to support clean energy and transport and autonomous robots. First generation production lines for Optimus are being installed in anticipation of volume production. Cybercab, Tesla Semi, and Megapack 3 are on schedule for volume production starting this year in 2026, is what they said. So again, NASDAQ dropped pretty significantly, and now it's just stabilizing here. We'll see if it holds. Yeah, I mean, gold and silver are pulling back a little bit after breaking highs. But both of these are around all-time highs. Silver's getting really close to 120s again. Again, gold, a lot of people are speculating when gold's going to hit $6,000 an ounce. Gold futures are close. They're at 5,600 roughly. Cash Z. Easing, come back in summer. Jobless claims are based on December. No, jobless claims are going to be... This jobless claims report is going to be specifically for last week, I believe. This is a delayed jobless claims numbers. Jobless claims is going to be for the period January 24th. So this is last week's data. The week ending January 24th. So this is going to be for last week, basically, jobless claims numbers. Now, the trade deficit data we're getting is from November. The U.S. productivity, non-farm productivity or whatever, is going to be for quarter 3. And then we got delayed wholesale inventory and factory orders at 10 a.m. But today's jobless claims report is from last week, not from December. There's gold. Caterpillar released earnings today, but they didn't really hold. They're still green in pre-market, but they didn't really hold. Tesla has to dip to go higher or won't have participation. Yeah, gold is like 1979. Yeah. You get jobless claims numbers going live in 40 minutes roughly. Hey, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. So I see somebody asking if they passed the Clarity Act at 10:30. If the Senate passes it, you still need the other chamber to pass matching or reconciled text to conference to align the House and Senate versions and then a final vote. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's getting approved if they pass it at 10:30 today. A clean passage signal at 10:30 would likely be read as less existential SEC versus crypto risk over time, more institutional comfort in a medium term, positive for large cap tokens. Essentially what the Clarity Act is. Puts a line between security versus digital commodity. It gives the CFTC clear authority and creates a registration section for digital asset venues. So it's good for crypto, but it's not the end all. It's not the end game at 10:30. But thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Meta's up pretty big today. All right, guys. Yeah, SEC Chair Paul Atkins says it's now the right time to open the 12.5 trillion 401k retirement market to cryptocurrencies. Maybe because we're on a dip, he thinks. And again, yesterday we had Microsoft, Meta, Tesla earnings after the closing bell. The Pew. The dollar menu will never come back, brother. It'll never come back. I remember back, the good times when you could go to McDonald's and buy a cheeseburger for $1. Honestly, when they moved it up to like $1.20, I was offended. Now what? I haven't been to McDonald's. Genuinely have not been to a McDonald's and ate at McDonald's in 3 or 4 years, probably, maybe longer than that. Haven't been to a McDonald's in 3 or 4 years. So I don't know what the prices are now. I heard they're higher, but again, I don't know. I don't eat McDonald's anymore. I did have Sonic the other day, though, and it was great. But it was my first time at Sonic in like a year or two, so. There's mozzarella sticks at Sonic. Extra long chili cheese coney. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what their prices are like. I don't eat there anymore. I did like their breakfast, though. Their breakfast was good. All right, so the president just tweeted just now, about 30 seconds ago. He criticized Jerome Powell again. President said, quote, Jerome Too Late Powell again refused to cut interest rates even though he has absolutely no reason to keep them so high. He is hurting our country and its national security. We should have a substantially lower rate now that even this moron admits inflation is no longer a problem or threat. He is costing America hundreds of billions of dollars a year and totally unnecessary and uncalled for interest expense. Because of the vast amounts of money flowing into our country because of tariffs, we should be paying the lowest interest rates of any country in the world. Most of these countries are low interest rate paying cash machines, though thought of as elegant, solid, and prime, only because the USA allows them to be, end quote. President Trump. So again, president's tweeting this morning. He's not really moving markets here, but basically pushing for lower interest rates. I'm curious to see if the odds of Jerome Powell getting fired go up here after this tweet. Let me see. Let me check odds markets. So in good news, the odds of a government shutdown on Saturday went down about 25%. They're now at about 50% odds instead of 75 like they were yesterday. And this is after the heels of maybe they're going to remove DHS from the bill, do a short-term continuing resolution. I'm guessing maybe like a couple weeks for them to negotiate for a few weeks on that. So they don't shut the entire government down again, because that did cause chaos. I'm hoping that happens, bro. Let's get it done. No government shutdown. I'm pushing for it. But if we check Jerome Powell on odds, there's about a 9% chance Powell is out as chairman before May. So before May, there's about a 9% chance, because again, Powell steps down late May. And so this is basically saying, hey, will Powell either get pressure to resign early or fired, essentially, is what it is. Now, they can't directly do it, but he can put pressure on them. And then there's another odds that, will the president try to fire Powell as Fed chair or governor? Before 2027, there's a 30% chance of that happening. There's an 8% chance the president sues Powell before his term ends. And again, people were mad at Jerome Powell yesterday when Jerome Powell really kept his cards to his chest, a little bit more close to his chest. Powell did not comment on anything outside of Fed interest rate decision and, you know, why they chose to make that decision. He was asked a couple times about the president, asked a couple times about everything else. And again, he basically just said, it's not appropriate for me to answer this. You know, I'm not going to answer that. And so, and again, I'm not picking sides here. I mean, it's kind of just political at this point. But I understand why he might choose to do that with the subpoena he got for the Fed building. Again, you think you're smart until you have to spell subpoena. You know? Dude, who knows how to spell it? I still don't know. What I know is I didn't spell it right. You want to see how I just tried to spell it here? Hold on, look at this. This is the worst spelling I could have ever thought of, dude. I just tried to type something. But I bet you if I type it into AI, it's going to give me the answer. I spelled subpoenaed. I don't even know what that means. Hey, listen. Top 3 subpoena in the world right now. Powell's offense. Hold on, let me see. What's the actual quote? I'm trying to find the quote. Let's see how smart AI is. Some peanut. Yeah, that's right. It's a space peanut. Again, Bitcoin going up at 88,000 here. So Bitcoin is going a little higher. Silver up to 118.90s. Bro, I'm the top 3 speller in the world here, dude. Y'all see my typing skills. Okay. I think subpoena is one of those words that I don't use very much at all. So, and it's, you know. Don't judge me. Yeah, Powell basically said that the renovation of the Fed building did not include rooftop gardens, did not include beehives, no beehives, you know, no rooftop terraces. All right. And so basically he's living in a shack, no beehives, guys. No rooftop terraces here. And honestly, that's kind of what's getting him in trouble. That's like, he said it wouldn't be all this lavish stuff, and then the president's arguing it is lavish, and then he said it wasn't going to be, and like, it's getting convoluted. Yeah. Yeah, Nasdaq's starting to go up a little bit here. Silver bounced right at the, look at this 200 exponential silver bounce. What I'm noticing is that commodities a lot of the time respect 200 exponential as well. So, what do y'all think about Netflix? Netflix is down to 84s right now. Should I add more to this, or should I just sit in it? Yeah, I'm sure the VIX is going up a little bit short term just now, but it's still not at a high level. It's still at 1660s, and it makes sense why. I mean, we're at all-time highs right now. But why would the VIX be super elevated if we're at all-time high? It contradicts. ByteDance, Alibaba are going to launch new AI models in mid-February, according to the information. Again, ByteDance and Alibaba are going to launch new AI models in mid-February, according to the information here. And also, we're seeing users deleting TikTok at a rapid rate, down over 150% in 5 days after the deal, according to Sensor Tower data, after TT was transferred to U.S. ownership. Also, the president said, I have been, quote, gentle to countries, but with a mere flip of the pen, more money would come to the United States. He said, cut rates now. Google will allow creators to create shorts with their own AI likeness, or TC, apparently. I'm supporting that. I'm okay with that. You're going to have AI John real quick in here. Telling you he's the top 3 AI out there. The best show just ended. Yeah, I think it makes sense, right? Why TikTok might lose some numbers now if it got transferred to US ownership. I think a lot of their users are in China. And so I think as it gets transferred to a rival of China, they're going to lose some numbers. Get my computer making. EOAI John? Yeah, Pawn hit me with this yesterday, guys. Look at this. Hold on, let me find it. Again, Nasdaq's kind of flat after this big drop it made. Here's a fun fact. Carol used to be kind of emo. Not emo, but like, he says it was alternative. And I mess with her at least once a month about it. I was more skateboarder, but Pawn hit me with this yesterday. It honestly, it looks like me too. This looks like me. Right? Sometimes AI doesn't look like me. This actually looks just like me. So it's actually, honestly, Pawn hit me with that yesterday. Y'all are lucky. Honestly, my hair can never do this though. My hair's too curly. I would have to straighten my hair to make it look like this. It's just never gonna happen. You know? Get ready, guys. That's coming. That's coming. Yeah, Pawn hit me with that yesterday. He's on his way to Black Parade. Yeah, listen, you know, when I was a young boy, guys. You know, my father took me to a YouTube stream. You know. All right, Nasdaq's bouncing back here. Bouncing back. Mastercard reported our earnings here. So look at Mastercard. Mastercard's up on their earnings. They're up to 530s right now. Mastercard posted Adjusted EPS of 476. They expected 424. Revenue of 8.8 billion versus 8.78 billion expected. All right, guys. NASDAQ bouncing back. Do I short the exponential 200 EMA? Thank you, James. You know. Yeah. Some people understood the reference. All right. Again, guys, we got 21 minutes now until jobless claims unemployment comes out. 21 minutes here. Again, I'm looking at breaking news. Mastercard Q4 earnings came out. Again, they beat EPS, revenue, gross dollar volume of 7% on local currency basis, 2.8 trillion. They see Q1 net revenue growth in the low teens. Again, the president came out critical of Jerome Powell again today in a post on social media, basically saying he should lower rates by now. We should have lower rates. He paused rates. He's mad about it. Again, the ECB is also likely to keep rates unchanged on February 5th, but may address the euro's recent strength. The stronger euro could slow inflation, increasing the chance of another rate cut this year. Hope you're not serious about this look. Of course I'm not serious, bro. It looks uncomfortable, dude. It looks uncomfortable. Like, I'm not doing that. I got kids, bro. If I showed up like that, my kids would never talk to me, dude. No offense. I mean, listen, if this is your look, this is your look. I'm not judging you. I'd still hang out with you, you know? But I'm not doing it. I kind of take the mentality of like, sometimes people dress like this and then say, I don't care about what people think. And it's like, do you really? You know, you're spending all this time straightening your hair, putting on makeup, wearing these earrings, you know, because you don't care what people think. Of course you do. And that's why you're spending all this time acting like this. If you really didn't care what people think, you go out in a cardboard box, you know? So, I think people just want to seem deep. Mastercard up to 534s. 534s. Yeah, if I show up to their school and pick them up like this, they're not even gonna, they're gonna just walk away, you know. All right, guys. Oil, again, elevated. Going up as well. $65 a barrel almost on crude futures. SEC Chair Adkins did say now's the right time to open the 12.5 trillion 401k retirement market to crypto. $257s for Apple. $257s. AMD. Apple earnings today after the closing bell, guys. Apple earnings after the closing bell. Silver, again, 118s. It's struggling to really get back over those highs, but it is consolidating up here. And the NASDAQ is a pretty tight range as well. Maybe markets are waiting for jobless claims and trade deficit data at 8:30. That could be possible. We have a slight upward trend here, higher highs or higher lows, but it's a pretty stagnant trend. It's not really super rangy. 401k is getting dollar tumbling. Get dollar index breaking down. We're at 96.20s. Yeah, a little flag here on the downside. I don't know what we're going to do, though. I'm just waiting here. Again, jobless claims unemployment, 18 minutes. Right now, guys, 18 minutes. Yeah, dollar index, again. Back down to 96s here. It had a green day yesterday, didn't it? Yeah, it was green yesterday. It's back down a little bit today. It's still not really at a good spot, though, for the Dixie. That's some of the lowest levels in a while. Yeah, it's human nature to care how you look. I mean, that's just normal. Anybody that tells you they don't, it's just like, all right. Some people care more, some people care less, though. Again, dollar index, red on the day, down to 96s. You guys red or green today, guys? Are you guys red or green so far? I haven't really traded. We haven't really had the opportunity to trade. I missed out on some of these drops here. And then since then, we're basically chopping sideways. So I'm just waiting for jobless claims to come out. Maybe we'll get some volatility from that in 17 minutes. We'll see what that looks like. Jobless claims in 17 minutes. But yeah. Again, I'm looking at breaking news here. I don't really see much right now, but China is going to cut UK whiskey tariff to 5% from 10%, according to the Prime Minister's office. Mastercard did release earnings. Mastercard dropped earnings, and they went up on this. They beat EPS in revenue. And so look at Mastercard up to 533s. Today we have Apple earnings after the closing bell. Apple earnings after the closing bell. And again, the president said the Fed Chair Jerome Powell is a moron. We should be paying lower interest rates than any other country in the world. U.S. President Trump. We also have ByteDance. Alibaba are going to launch a new AI model in mid-February, according to the information as well. You can see NASDAQ still coming back down. It is a bear flag. NVIDIA at 191, slightly red on the day. NASDAQ red on the day. I think the SPY is still green. I'll have to look, though. Yeah, SPY, E-mini, S&P 500 are green on the day. Close to 7,000 highs. Google is up on the day as well, at least relative to where it closed yesterday. And Bitcoin is down a little bit on the day. It's back down to 87s. Yesterday it was about 89s. So Bitcoin down a little bit on the day, flat over the last few hours here for BTC. Again, Tesla price target. Analysts range from 350 to 540 amid AI and robotics push. Again, Tesla pivoting a little bit away from actual cars and more into robotics and autonomous vehicles and robotaxi stuff. So we'll see how that looks. But again, jobless claims in 15 minutes exactly. All right, guys, so we got about 1,000 people here. We got 15 minutes until jobless claims come out. See if this moves markets at all. NASDAQ's kind of chopping sideways, but we do have a pretty easy range on the NQ. I mean, if you look at the NASDAQ here, pretty easy range, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty clear what NASDAQ is doing. It's trending down today. It is red on the day. The S&P 500, if we take a look at it here, at least the S&P 500 futures, much more flat and really slightly green on the day. S&P 500, where did it close? Yeah, S&P closed at about 717, 7017s. We're actually dipping close to that now, but the S&P 500 is pretty flat. If we take a look at the Dow here, here's the Dow. The Dow definitely got a larger range, just probably on the earnings reports that have showed up this morning, but it's green on the day as well right now for the Dow. So the Dow is green, S&P green, NASDAQ slightly red this morning. The Russell, what's the Russell? It's RTY? Russell's green on the day as well. Russell's much more green than some of these other ones, but here's the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ still flushing down in a bearish trend as we speak. Rejected off the 200 exponential earlier. We're watching NVIDIA, which is a little red on the day. Watching silver and gold. Watching Meta after a big push this morning. Meta's up to almost 730s. Again, we do have jobless claims, unemployment. 13 minutes, guys, 13 minutes. Yeah, we did have Jerome Powell speak yesterday. Powell was pretty much neutral. I told you guys ahead of the Fed meeting yesterday that Jerome Powell would probably be neutral, data dependent. I think that's what makes the most sense. I think when you consider the context of the subpoena, you can consider the context of where we're at now. He's not going to give too much outlook. He's not going to give too many arguments for what we're going to do moving forward. He's going to wait and see, data dependent approach. And that's precisely what he was. Very neutral. I wouldn't really say he was hawkish or dovish. I think he was pretty neutral. The opening statement, I think maybe was a little bit more hawkish. He stressed inflation risks still. Did see the labor market stabilized. And it did stabilize, at least if we're going purely off the data. The data over the last little bit has shown, a little bit more stabilization in labor. 6 months ago, data was really bad for labor. We had big revisions. We had negative jobs in the labor reports that we got. And that kind of cleaned up some. They're still very low. So like job gains on a monthly perspective are still very low. But they are a little bit cleaner than they were 3 months ago. But there's still obvious risks. I mean, it's not like we're 200,000 plus jobs a month right now. So it's not like the labor market is in any way strong as we speak. GDP is good, but GDP is a little bit less accurate than like inflation or labor reports, I would say. But GDP's up there at this point in time. I get it. And this is all in the context of us maybe heading into another shutdown. I hope not, really. But again, understand that like if we don't get a deal done by January 30th, which is Friday tomorrow, and we also have PPI inflation data tomorrow, but if we don't get a deal done, about half of federal agencies are going to lose funding if nothing passes. All right. And again, this does not include the Bureau of Economic Analysis. So we will still get BEA data, which PCE inflation and some other stuff is including in BEA data. But the fight is over DHS and ICE funding in the 6-bill package. It expires January 30th. Again, the left is vowing to block the current 6-bill minibus unless DHS is carved out or conditions are added. The Republican warns the House will reject any changes. There's an emerging off-ramp that made the odds of a shutdown go down overnight. The off-ramp is basically the argument to pass 5 non-DHS bills now and then do a short CR just for DHS and then negotiate. And so the president and Chuck Schumer are reportedly discussing a version of this, but nothing's locked in yet. But we did see odds of a shutdown, at least in Kalshi. Shutdown odds are down to the 50s, where they were at the 75% likelihood of a shutdown yesterday. So that's where we're at now. Again, we have about 10 minutes left until jobless claims unemployment comes out. Buying Microsoft after the drop. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see how the market responds today. Oracle's been down a lot. Yeah, I'm in Oracle right now. You don't love to see it, but it's down. I'm not in a huge position though. Like I have 10 shares of Oracle, so Oracle goes down, I'll be all right. $101 chance of a shutdown. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, again, I'm not gonna say only a Sith deals in absolutes, but only a fool deals in absolutes, sir. Nothing is guaranteed. And again, one of the things about these odd makers is that there's a concept called the wisdom of the crowd, right? It's what you see in the Fed watch tool as well, right? The Fed watch tool is almost always right. Why? Because there's so many different variables in there. When you have that many people giving their opinion on something and you see the sentiment from that many different people, a lot of the time the truth comes out. And I think you have to look at some of these odds makers in that context. Is it 100% likely that we don't shut down or that we shut down? No, there's a chance it gets done. It's just unlikely at this point. So maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's confirmation bias. I don't want the government to shut down. So we'll see what happens. Again, we have 9 minutes left. 9 minutes. And again, even if we do shut down, it's a partial shutdown. It's not a full shutdown. Full shutdown was what happened last time. This would be a partial shutdown. We got half of the government agencies funded already and approved and all that good stuff. Okay, so the China Commerce Minister met with UK Trade Minister in a statement. Again, they're going to cut UK whiskey tariff to 5% from 10% according to some of the offices there. All right, here we go, guys. Jobless claims unemployment. Let's see what we get. I'm going to put the SPY up. Good. Yeah. Oh. Hey, Mom. I love you, bud. Have a good day, dude. Yeah. I don't have enough time. We got 7 minutes until jobless claims, but... Alright, guys, we're at 26,160s here. 26,160s. Get Oracle at 170s. Yeah, he's a good kid. Yeah, we got 6 minutes left. 6 minutes. Market always goes down on Apple earnings days. Today we do have Apple earnings after the closing bell, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Apple releases their earnings report. We'll see what we get. We'll see what it looks like. Again, the China Commerce Minister met with UK Trade Minister in a statement. Jobless claims unemployment drops in about 6 minutes, guys. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button as well. Put it in 2x speed. Catch up to the stream. We'll see what we get today. But yeah. Time. Jobless claims unemployment. The Mama Pawn. Again, are you bullish or bearish for jobless claims? Let me know in chat right now. 56% out of about 600 votes said they think we're going to get higher than expected jobless claims. 45% think lower than expected jobless claims. Let's see what we get. We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Again, we got SNDK earnings, right? And SNDK is up a lot. SNDK earnings after the bell. See if they hold. Again, Apple earnings as well. Apple's been interesting the last few days. Again, put bull or bear in chat for jobless claims. Bull or bear. We'll see if it moves at all. I mean, it depends on if we come in higher or lower than expected numbers, but... bearish if we stay in the trend. Yeah, Amazon layoffs 16,000. Amazon layoffs announced what, a few days ago? 2 days ago? All right, so I see one bull. What do you think the market wants, higher or lower? I think the market might react well to lower claims. That's the trend I've seen lately. Even though I think the market wants easy. Pump, pump, pump it up. UPS, Amazon layoffs won't show until February. I love you. Good day. Flat. Again, we got 4 minutes left. 4 minutes. Flat, lower, bull. Amazon's trash. Buy or sell gold. Yeah, I mean, memory's a premium right now. Memory's gone up substantially. Again, we also have the balance of trade data. It's expected at negative 29.4 billion. This is how many exports we have to imports, right? From the U.S. perspective, or from the U.S., to give you context, we usually import much more than we export. Now, we're not necessarily known as a huge manufacturing hub because things are more expensive here, right? So we usually import other countries' goods versus exporting our own, right? But because of the tariffs and all that dynamic, this ratio has actually gotten a lot more in regards to us exporting some of our stuff. It's still negative 29.4 billion as the ratio. But yeah, because we have 302 billion exports, 331.4 billion imports. Again, jobless claims today. Last time was 200,000. Today they're expecting around 205 or 206K. for jobless claims, unemployment filings. And again, this drops in about 3 minutes. All right, guys, here we go. Amazon is trash. I disagree. I think Amazon is going to continue to be huge. I think just based off of how many people use them across the world, it's hard to get rid of that dynamic. We got 2.5 minutes left. 2.5 minutes left. Here's the SPY. Here's silver. Here's the NASDAQ. Here's Bitcoin on the right. So let's see what happens here. Jobless claims unemployment in about 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. And here's the NASDAQ. We're going to put this up. We might trade this as well. We'll see what we get. But here's the NASDAQ. Good. Jobless claims expected at 206K. 206K. We got 2 minutes left. Continuing claims expected at 1.86 million. 1.849 million. All right, here we go. We got about a minute and 20 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up. See what we get here. Jobless claims about to drop. All right, guys, 1 minute. Again, we do have import-export data, trade balance data going live at the same time as well here, so just be ready. All right, here we go. 1 minute. Again, hit the live button, put it in 2x speed. We'll catch up to the stream. Let's see what we get. NASDAQ rebounding back a little bit. Here's the SPY. Here's Bitcoin. Here's silver. Here's gold. 55.50. 40 seconds. 40 seconds. $30 seconds. Again, we'll see if it moves markets. I'm not sure. We'll see. $15 seconds, guys. About 10 seconds now. And the report should be coming out in about 5 seconds. See what we get. And here's the report right here. All right, there's the report right now. Trade balance data showed negative 506. Jobless claims 209,000. Higher than expected. Weaker jobs numbers than expected. 209K versus 206K expected. Continuing claims showed 1.827 million. So weaker than expected. Weaker than expected. Jobless claims numbers. Again, weaker than expected. It's out 209K versus 206K. Expected here. Trade balance data showed negative 56.8 billion versus negative 43 billion. So we actually imported a lot more than expected and exported less than expected per the trade balance data here. Again, weaker than expected jobless claims, weaker than expected trade balance data, I would say. Better than expected continuing claims though. They should have been negative they should have been 1.827 million. The NASDAQ is falling down a little bit on this report, although it's not moving that much. Tomorrow's PPI inflation report will be larger than this. But again, a little bit weaker than expected. Jobless claims numbers 209K versus expected 206K. The previous level was revised up to 210 as well. So the previous numbers for jobless claims were revised up to 210,000. Again, revised up 10K to 210. So again, previous numbers were revised up from 200,000 to 210,000. Up 10,000 revisions, higher than expected. NASDAQ did react negatively to this report here. So the NASDAQ did react negatively to this report. If we look at the actual report, this is from the Department of Labor here from today. Again, you can kind of see the graph here for jobless claims. Advanced figures for seasonally adjusted initial claims 209, a decrease of 1,000 from the previous week. The previous week's level was revised up by 10K from 200,000 to 210,000 as well. So again, A little bit higher claims. This is definitely weaker labor data than expected. But continuing claims are a little bit better than expected here. So continuing claims a little bit weaker than expected. No, continuing claims a little bit better than expected. I'm sorry, initial claims weaker than expected. Continuing claims a little bit stronger than expected, but the previous initial claims data from last week, originally it was 200,000, it was revised up to 210,000. So weaker jobless claims numbers than expected, weaker jobs numbers than expected. Import-export data was a little bit more skewed to imports versus what the expected number was there as well. But again, initial claims. Put this data up on screen right here, or we'll put it scrolling at the bottom. Probably what we'll do. Again, 209 versus 205 or 206 expected. Nasdaq originally reacted negatively here. I want to see how Bitcoin's going to respond to this though, but yeah, that was the data here. All right, so Meta had a crazy run. Nasdaq starting to bounce back here. Yeah, look at gold and silver. They're really moving. The Nasdaq, again, maybe first move is the wrong move. It's starting to go up some now. Again, U.S. exports came in at 292.1 billion, so we exported less than expected. Imports were 348.9 billion, so we imported more and exported less than expected. Jobless claims, again, heated up a little bit, so weaker jobs. Yeah, the revision's also not good. They revised jobs. They revised the job. They revised unemployment claims up 10,000 week to week. Last time it was 200. They revised it up to 210 from last time. So that's what happened. Again, trade balance data showed more imports, less exports than expected as well. Came in higher than expected and revised up 10,000 from last week. Last week's data was revised up 10K, so 10,000 more unemployment claims. So higher jobless claims means higher unemployment filings. Initial claims is initial unemployment filings week to week. So higher claims means more people filing for unemployment. A revised number from last week means that originally they thought it was 10K last week. Now it's 210. Originally they thought it was 200,000. Now it's 210,000. So it's revised up by 10,000 unemployment claims is what it is. So that is what is going on. Nasdaq honestly is reacting pretty well to this. Let's see if we can day trade this a little bit here. Hold on. Might short right now. We're close to the 200 exponential. We're in a downward trend. Got some of the trades. Let's see if we reject here. Maybe the market wants earlier cuts for longer. So there's 4 contracts here. Maybe a little greedy to bet on a long-term trend that we've been in like this, but I'll give it a second. I want to see if that 200 EMA rejects it again. And again, Mizuho raises the price target 540 and keeps outperforming rating. Notes Tesla will see slow EV demand in 26 as it focuses on gradually pivoting to AI software and robotaxi info. So again, Mizuho raises price target to Tesla to 540. And here's Meta. Meta's up to 730s right now. I'm in Meta as well. Okay, gold now under the 200 exponential and the volume weighted average price. There we go. We're green. We break down a little bit more here and flush. AT&T files to sell a 5-part debt as well. I'm letting it test the 200 exponential, but I'm not going to hold it too long here. We'll give it a second. We should be cutting interest rates. Do you guys think we should cut or pause interest rates now? Anybody think we should raise rates? Let me know in chat. We had a couple people thinking we should raise rates yesterday in the Fed meeting stream. Again, stick around. We are going to be day trading the opening bell live. So again, stick around. We are going to be day trading the opening bell live. Hopefully we'll get some better volatility here. Trying to see if the 200 exponential rejects us again. But honestly, Meta's on a freaking tear, dude. Meta's up to 732s. Again, you can give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades. Yeah, so the U.S. trade deficit widens month over month by the most since 1992. 1992. The largest widening of the trade deficit since 1992. All right, so I'm looking at the chat right now. Most people say cut, raise, yes, cut, raise, cut, raise, cut, pause. I can respect the pause outlook. I can respect neutral. In a polarized world, I can respect neutral. Cut. Rates need to go lower. Real estate market needs some legs. No cut. Inflation is under control. USD is screwed. No cut. Inflation. Yeah. I mean, I'm neutral. I'm okay with pausing interest rates. Why? Because I think inflation and the labor market is a risk right now. But Powell did say yesterday something that you've heard me say is that at a certain point, the labor market becomes the priority. Right? So at a certain point, we have to focus on the labor market. Because if we don't focus on the labor market, then what ends up happening is that we enter deeper recessions and depressions, and then the Fed has to kind of super ease to get us out of it. They got to do deeper quantitative easing. They got to bring rates down a heck of a lot more than they would have. And that makes inflation spike anyway. And so at a certain point, you got to take care of the labor market. But again, at this point in time, per the data, it's been kind of, I wouldn't say there's too much weight on either side of the risk element. I think both sides are risky right now. Inflation's not necessarily low. It's not crazy sky high. It's just not necessarily low either. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. And again, a lot of people think we have this super sky high inflation, but what they're really dealing with is the inflation that we saw from 2020 and beyond, like 2020, 2021, 2022, super low interest rate environment, quantitative easing, supply chain problems, and more. And I explained this yesterday as well. That's why a lot of people are still unhappy now, is because of inflation that we got. But inflation rate has slowed. If you take a look at CPI inflation, you know, we're at what? 2.8%, whatever that is. Hey, look, this is the CPI inflation graph. So yeah, we have slowed. We're at 2.7. We did have a skipped month, which is interesting here. You can kind of see like a little blip in there. All right, let's break down some more here, guys. Give me some green. There we go. I'm gonna actually take one off here just to risk management this. We got a rejection at the 200 exponential, exactly where I wanted us to. And I'll give it a little bit more time, see if it stays in this trend. That is pulling back a little bit, back down to 730s. Gap fill in the CPI graph. Is it time to buy the dip in inflation? Problem is AI is anti-job growth. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true, at least to some extent. All right, good thing I took a little bit of this off. So I want to add back here, though. If we reject the 200 again. There's a rejection of the 200. Maybe I should have. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell if I was right. I mean, I protect my trades. They're small enough to where I'm not super concerned about it. I mean, if you really want me to set a stop loss, I will. What am I in right now? 3? All right, there's my stop loss. Probably would have cut it by now. That was the thing. See? Yeah. All right. AI and Roblox, the jobs aren't coming back. Yeah, but there are going to be more jobs created from those as well. Again, the easiest way to look at it is the internet. The internet replaced jobs. But over time, more jobs were developed from the internet than anything else, right? And so it's going to be a push and pull dynamic there for sure, right? Just looking at it objectively, it's going to be a push and pull. Fed independence worries pressure the dollar, according to Commerce Bank. Concerns about political influence on the Fed weighed on the dollar after Fed held rates yesterday. He defended central bank independence with Christopher Waller's vote for a cut. Fuel speculation of politics creeping in. The Dixie fell 0.1% to 96.3, according to Commerce Bank. We are going to be day trading live at the opening bell, guys, so stick around. Chat loaded with doomsday preppers. Honestly, it's always been that way. You know how many people tell me the market's going to crash literally almost every day? Market's going to crash. Market's going to crash. This has happened for years and years. You know, market could be breaking highs. People are like, oh, market's going to crash. Market could be pulling back. Oh, market's going to crash. Everybody wants to believe something. Everybody wants to believe that they know something other people don't, right? They romanticize the big short. You know, they want to be the next big short market crash predictor like Michael Burry, you know? They just know things other people don't. Like, the reality of it is most people are wrong. And if you look at it, like, I've had so many people here predict some big market crash, and then the market ends up ripping up for the next 2 years, and then you never see them again. It's crickets. It's silence. You know, they probably create another username and then wait for another market crash and then predict that one as well. So, but, you know, maybe we are about to crash. I don't know. I think it depends on whether AI catches up with valuations. We were talking about stocks like Palantir earlier. You know, super high PE ratios in a lot of tech stocks. Just about whether they catch up to that. Whether monetization rolls in heavier. And whether they catch up to it. And again, let me know whether you guys think they do. Do you guys think they catch up to the valuations? Yes or no? Put it in chat right now. Do you think AI catches up to valuations before we have some big market crash or correction? Yes, no, only Palantir, no. I'm not saying Palantir is going to crash the market. I'm saying it's reflective of the overall high PE ratios we see in tech. I don't think so. Palantir is a steal at these prices. Housing sales in the spring, summer create the narrative. Doom, run, poll. Okay, we can do a poll here. It's probably time to do another poll here. Actually, I'm going to do a poll right now. Does AI and tech... Do AI and tech stocks catch up to their high valuations and PE ratios? There you go. There's the poll. Vote on the poll. Do AI and tech stocks catch up to their high valuations, PE ratios? Let me know. Comcast says 2026 will be the largest broadband investment year in the company's history via a conference call. Caterpillar CEO says they remain confident that they will manage the impact of tariffs over time as they aim to operate around the midpoint of adjusted operating margin target range. What I meant is, do they catch up to their high valuations that people are giving the companies? No. Eventually, but not before a correction. There'll never be a real crash again if things get suspect. Only Palantir will. Yeah, maybe. Tech will always have large PE. Yeah, that might be true. You can also look at the past 10-year PE ratios to get a better gauge of it as well. But again, China's continuing to dump U.S. treasuries. Apparently, China's official gold reserves have risen to about 74.1 million ounces, an all-time high. Its holdings of U.S. treasuries have fallen to roughly 682.6 billion, the lowest level in 18 years. Look at this news. Nasdaq's still creeping higher here. Maybe finally, I don't know. You could argue on top of range. We do have a little bit of an expanding range here with this type of stuff as well. Yeah, my nose is all stopped up. Again, Nasdaq up to 26,196s here. 26,196s. And gold, silver stocks flying to all-time highs still here. Look at Tesla. Still green on the day, but look at gold, man. Gold 5548. Silver over 119. The president doesn't speak again today, does he? Honestly, we got another good UFC card. Another pretty good UFC card this week. My first free card. I didn't get to watch the last one. I had to go to a ball. I went to a ball. And, no, I did not go like this. Instead, I had to go to a ball. I missed the best UFC card of the year. Went like that instead. But still mad I missed the card. Honestly, it was a really good card. Best card of the year. Still mad about it. Bitcoin at 87,920s here. 87,920s. On copper. What's copper? Is it CP? What is it? What's the copper symbol? I don't even know. I don't trade copper. I'm trying to guess the copper symbol. No, Pawn sent me the AI emoji on yesterday. Yes. Nope. MHG. Okay. Copper's HG is what it is. So here's copper futures. Yeah, look at copper run here. Copper's at 645s right now. 645s. Yeah, copper's flying right now. Again, this after natural gas had a crazy run because of the winter storm. Look at natty gas go up huge from the winter storm. Winter storm hit. Heating. Everybody, basically the logic here is that people started heating their homes more because of the winter storm, and you need natural gas to heat your homes. So that is what happened. Natural gas prices went to $7+, $7+, and then fell. Once the storm was over and it was a little bit less harsh than expected, it fell all the way down to under 4s again. Again, here's futures right now, 26,197s, 26,190s. You got to wear beads though. It was a Mardi Gras ball. I'm from Louisiana. It was in Louisiana. It was a Mardi Gras ball. I didn't make any money on natural gas. I'd love to say I did, but I didn't. Yeah. Snowstorm happens and we long natural gas. Well, I didn't personally. You know, I was at a ball. You know, no. I didn't, unfortunately. And natural gas did move. I think it's what you see right now. And again, I'm not telling you we're gonna crash or correct, but in the late 90s, Greenspan said that the market had what he called irrational exuberance. Irrational exuberance. Now, you can argue whether he was right or wrong because we didn't really correct from the dot-com crash until 3-4 years later. So maybe he was early. But I would argue that a lot of markets right now are seeing irrational exuberance. You know, a lot of markets right now. You know, gold and silver up crazy amounts. Crazy amounts. Silver up to 119.50s. Gold up to almost $6,000 an ounce. You know, natural gas flew and had some crazy swings from the storm. Like you're just seeing, you know, you're seeing stocks get high valuations, AI stocks IPO, and like a lot of stuff's happening right now. And again, maybe we correct from it in the future. But even if we do, it might not be for years. And so the real question is, what do you do now? And I don't know what the right answer is there. I don't know. What goes up eventually comes down? Not necessarily, Rob. You know, maybe you could argue that with some assets, with some sectors. But you can't tell me the S&P, like, okay, here's a good example. Here's the S&P 500. Since 2019, we can zoom back further. Look, here, the S&P 500 in 2000 was at about 1,500. In 2000, about 1,500. It is now at 7,000. Are you telling me the S&P 500 is going to go back to 1,500? No, it's not. So what comes up or what goes up doesn't necessarily come back down in markets. If anything, what goes up might keep going up long term. Some things might correct, and even the things that go up, some might correct from time to time, but it doesn't mean they're going to give back all their gains. It also doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to go up over time, because the S&P 500, you know, in a century plus of data, has continued to go up over time and not really come all the way back down. The people who do the worst in crashes are generally people who get emotional and sell. You know, the people who do the best are people who buy pullbacks and maybe DCA into it. But again, I'm not telling you to do that because every situation can be different. You know, Mark Twain famously said, history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And so each individual instance of this type of thing can be different. But again, copper now. Look at copper run here right now, guys. 650. 50. Yeah, natural gas. Natural gas might come back down eventually, though, but natural gas is ripping up right now as well. Natty gas popping here. If it holds. Again, China dumping U.S. treasuries. The official gold reserves have risen to about 74 million ounces, an all-time high, while its holdings of treasuries the U.S. have fallen to roughly 682.6 billion, the lowest level in 18 years. Again, we got kind of a head and shoulders under the 200 exponential as well here. I kind of want to show you this again. I guess I'll try to. It's not the best looking one though, but we'll give it a chance. X here. Again, the opening bell happens in about 30 minutes here, guys. 30 minutes. Remember, I am not an investment professional. We are not liable. If you lose money, make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything, guys. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. We are a little green on this trade. So Iran issued a warning to ships at sea Thursday that it planned to run a drill next week that would include live firing in the Strait of Hormuz, potentially disrupting traffic through a waterway that sees 20% of the world's oil pass through it. That's probably why oil spiked it up here to 65.60 a barrel. Right now, 65.50s a barrel. Tapped 65.60s a second ago, but that's probably why oil's going up, just because of supply constraints. Again, imports rising. The U.S. trade deficit widened to $56.8 billion in November, up from the lowest level since 2009 as imports rebounded and exports fell. And the trade balance data that we got at 8:30 with jobless claims numbers. There we go. That's nice. I'm going to cut half of this here. Or a third of this here, I mean, and then let the rest ride down potentially here. Although we do have a kind of a sideways range. We add back on the bounce here. See if we reject again. Look at oil, 65.40s. Yeah, it's fake out city right now in markets. We dipped down under the 200 EMA like we were gonna really break down here. Then we popped right back up. So there's really a lot of balance here in markets. We're kind of flat. There we go. We're green. I'm gonna take some size off here. Check the trade a little bit. It's not Friday, Tiny. It's Thursday. Today is Thursday, the 29th. Tomorrow is Friday. We got PPI inflation data tomorrow, guys. Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index fell 9.7 points in January to 84.5, the lowest since May of 2014. It marks the 6th consecutive monthly decline. Official puts consumer confidence below 2020 levels. That was earlier this week. All right, guys, so here's 9 o'clock. Gotta be careful with this a little bit, because we sometimes get volatility at 9. About the scrum that could happen here. If we do. I'll reduce my size again, pretty much flat on that. All right, so there's 9. It'll help me. Let's see if we drop. Honeywell says the 26 sales growth will be led by higher commercial department and aerospace and increased defense budget. European Council has also adopted new sanctions on Iran. Sanctioned individuals include the Interior Minister. There we go. That's better. I'm going to take some off here. Just risk manage. We're kind of chopping sideways, so if we break down bottom of the range short term, I just cut this. See what our exponential is doing what it does, though. Look at oil. Oil's testing highs again. Look at silver, guys. Silver's getting up there. All-time high on silver, 120.50s. We're at 119.80s here for silver. So silver's getting up there as well. But the range is not good right now. Not good. Silver up to 120s. Silver just tapping 120s again. There we go. I'm gonna cut it down here on this drop. Look at that drop. We're out. Nice green trade. Fed independence worries pressure the dollar. According to Commerce Bank, Radar said that U.S. trade deficit, imports rise. Consumer confidence down. There's a potential Iran news, again, with Iran issuing a warning to ships at sea that they plan to run a drill next week that might disrupt oil. And NASDAQ is falling down. I don't see any other breaking news coming out. Let me make sure, though. Look at this drop. Check some stocks here. Look, silver getting up, maybe breaking all-time highs right now. Nvidia, 191s. Silver surging, Nasdaq falling. Again, I don't really see any news here for this. Again, maybe markets are starting to digest the Iran news. Jobless claims are scrolling in yellow at the bottom of the screen. And silver futures at 120s right now, 120s. Nasdaq flushing down, 200 exponential worked again. Look at the Nasdaq tumble here, guys. Again, this must be the markets digesting the Iran issued a warning to ships at sea Thursday, plan to run a drill next week. Might restrict the supply of oil. Again, I think that is, we covered this like a couple minutes ago. But it looks like markets are just now digesting this. This news honestly came out 52 minutes ago. Yeah, but the Nasdaq is down here. Oil's rising on this. Get oil spiking up, gold and silver spiking up as well. Nasdaq tumbling down. All right, guys. Nasdaq is not stopping down. Still running down. Falling down, I should say, probably. Better. Yeah, Nasdaq's tumbling down here. Again, we're at 26,157s here. Oil up to 65.72 a barrel here. Oil spiking back up. Bitcoin falling down. Silver up to 120 plus again. Nasdaq hasn't stopped correcting on the downside here. This is geopolitical stuff causing oil to bounce, causing the Nasdaq to fall a little bit here. Yeah, I kind of want to buy this now, but still a little early, maybe. All right, we'll buy it right here. Add a little bit if it just fall down a little bit more. There we go. I'm gonna cut half. Get out a little bit more there. You'd love to see it. Yeah, Microsoft gapping down a pretty significant amount after earnings yesterday. What's interesting is that it didn't have bad earnings necessarily, but people saw something they didn't like, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's good for me. I'm in silver right now, so it's good for me. I'm also in Meta. Get a little profit. What's the best stock to buy right now, guys? We got 23 minutes until the market opens. We are going to be day trading live at the opening bell. We'll see what we get. Carvana? Carvana's wild, dude. Swings in Carvana are big, but earnings related, but still. Good year for Carvana. Again, silver still pushing. General Mills. Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin had earnings. It went up a lot. It's correcting down a little bit now. And AMD at 250s. Bitcoin's just quiet right now. Quiet's not bad. Look at silver, guys. Silver just broke all-time highs again at 120.80s for silver. 120.80s for silver. 120.87, the new all-time high for silver futures, breaking all-time highs again today. All-time highs again breaking for silver this morning. All right, guys. Look at NASDAQ coming back down a little bit. Again, oil is what's spiking after Iran are closing down one of the paths to oil, one of the oil routes next week potentially, which is worrying people about. They say it's for specifically for a drill. Again, the waterway, Strait of Hormuz, sees 20% of all the world's oil pass through it. So if they're closing that down, oil supply worries. Oil spiking up to 65.70s a barrel. NASDAQ down, silver spiking up. Caterpillar expects tariff situation to improve in the Q2 of this year. All right, we're at 26,160s here. Down at 26,160s. $65.80s for oil. All-time high. Again, silver at 121s now. 121.09 is the new all-time high in silver. Still pushing over these highs, guys. I'm actually in target right now, but I scaled out of it over time. But we're green. Our average is 86s on target. I don't know how I got that good of an average. It's at 101s now. But all right, guys, the opening bell is almost here. Yeah, opening bell is almost here. We got 11 minutes. Let's day trade. Yeah, we are going to day trade. Average on target 84.80s. Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Again, oil still pushing over high. So is silver. Look at silver, 121.30s here. Oil rising. Bitcoin's actually rising back up too a little bit here on this. Again, stuff going on overseas. U.S. production freezes. Tighter Russian oil restriction keep oil prices elevated, according to Cities Anthony, as well as tensions with Iran. Geopolitical risk add $3 to $4 a barrel, lifting WTI to 3.4%, 65.36 a barrel, and Brent to 70.64, both 4 months highs. So yeah, oil getting back up a little bit. Man, I was just talking about maybe I should buy oil the other day. Didn't. I was like, oh, maybe I should buy oil. And too many people are like, nah, bro, oil's going to stay down for the next few years. Chat's going to chat. It's not my fault. I blame you guys. How you feeling about the market going forward the next couple of months? I think it'll be interesting. It depends on if we shut down or not and how that affects things. But I think the market will be interesting the next few months. Always inverse chat. Let's start an inverse chat ETF. Whatever the poll numbers are, I'm just going to do the opposite. Nasdaq down to 26.15s here, 26.15s. Nasdaq testing lows, silver pulling back, oil still spiking to almost $66 a barrel, 66 a barrel here. Dude, why is my nose always stopped up in the morning, bro? CoreWeave had $2 billion invested in them by Nvidia last week or earlier this week. Yeah, Palantir partnered with INOD. Mastercard earnings came out earlier. 476 expected 425. Revenue 8.8 expected 8.78. Again, silver hit 171 an ounce. Or 121 an ounce. I'm sorry, 171 would be wild. 121 an ounce. Opening bells in 15 minutes, guys. 15 minutes. Nasdaq still cracking lows on the day. I think these are lows. Yeah, this is lows of the day here. Nasdaq cracked lows of the day just now again. Silver pulling back a little bit as well. But oil hit 66.11 a barrel. 66.11 a barrel. So for crude, 66.11 a barrel now for oil. Oil's continuing to push higher here on this. Yeah, dude, my nose is all stopped up, man. There's a little twinkle in my throat too. You know, I don't know what it means. I think it's acid reflux, realistically. In your dream, I'm running through a field of dandelions. I'm not allergic to anything that I know of. My house was like a zoo growing up. We had animals. My dad's a falconer, so we had falcons, quail. We had freaking dogs, cats. I had snakes. I love snakes. And reptiles. So sure enough, I'm not allergic to anything that I know of. My stomach's a wimp, though, apparently. All right, Nasdaq up to 26.15s here, 26.15s. Oil still pushing here, still pushing. It's from the heater being on. That might be true. Look at oil, guys. Oil hit 66.20 a barrel, 66.20s. Yeah. Bro, corn snakes are the coolest pets. They're the funnest pets. Ball pythons, they're kind of snooty. is the best word for ball pythons. They'll let you hold them and they're chill, but they won't eat as easily. A little bit more stubborn. Corn snakes will eat anything. You throw a fish, little guppy in there, it'll eat that. You throw a mouse in there, it'll eat that. They don't care. You know. Yeah. All right, guys, here we go. We got 12 minutes until the opening bell. 12 minutes. Get 12 minutes. Nasdaq started to bounce back. Silver back up almost to highs. Oil at 66.20 a barrel. Look, I just saw this picture of me when I was young. Y'all want to see what I look? Never mind. I'm not even gonna show it to y'all. It's a funny picture though. All right, guys. In sell side of mail are very strong. Markets are reacting to the Iran news. We're waiting for the opening bell. We got 10 minutes, guys. Bullish or bearish for the opening bell? We did a poll earlier. We said, do AI and tech stocks catch up to their high valuations and PE ratios? 55% say yes. Oh yeah, here it is. That's me. Right there, I've showed this picture before, but I know I look like my dad now. I know, I understand. Everybody's like, "Oh, you look like your dad." I know, man. I get it. I definitely do, though. But yeah, I don't know if we're due for a pullback. Oil pull it back a little bit now. We're at 66 a barrel. 66 a barrel. We're at 121.40s. All right, we're at 26.149s. Oil dipping down a little bit. Hit 66.40 a barrel for crude. We'll go back to 4K, baby. Bearish due to political instability, not taking any longs today. Yeah, the president came out tweeting earlier regarding Jerome Powell. Let's see what we get. Yeah, let's see what we get. Again, the president basically criticized Jerome Powell, saying we should have lower interest rates now. I mean, he said it, he called him too late, threw some insults at him. I mean, he's done this a couple different times, so I think the market has accepted the president does not like Jerome Powell, and Jerome Powell doesn't like the president. You know, doesn't like the president. Look, here's young me. I almost had a mullet. You can tell it's the 90s too. Is this a mullet, guys? No? I can't really tell. Kind of. I'm gonna call it a mullet just for you know, just for ish and giggles, you know. All right, market's kind of slowing down a little bit after breaking down here. We got 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left. Oil at 66 a barrel, 65. This is 90s, not 80s. Bro, you look like you're about to hit Grandpa Joe with the golden ticket. Do I look like him, bro? What was his name? I can't remember his name. Who's the Willy Wonka kid? What's his name? Yeah, I had blonde hair as a kid. It darkened as I got older. Oil at 66. Charlie, yeah, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Yeah. You saying I look like Charlie? As long as it's not Forrest Griffin, I'm okay with it. All right. Oil, pull it back, $66 a barrel now. Silver, 121s a barrel. Bitcoin, 88,000 roughly. Nasdaq almost back down to 26K. It's down to 26,150s. We got close to all-time highs on the NQ. I don't think we actually broke all-time highs on the Nasdaq, did we? In this recent run here, I don't think we quite got up there. We needed 399 and we got up to 350 basically. We didn't quite break all-time highs on the Nasdaq. And again, so far we've been in a downtrend really since early this morning, maybe 2 or 3 a.m. this morning. The Nasdaq's been trending down heading into the opening bell. So I bought the dip in UNH and then I sold it like a day or two later and made money. I might have sold it later that day, but I sold it right around where it's at now. But I bought the dip. I might have sold it yesterday. I can't remember. I bought the dip. I sold it. It might have been yesterday for UNH. I have to go check. But I sold it on a bounce. I added on the dip down to 280s and then I sold it on the bounce. A barrel of silver? It's a lot, I'll tell you that. Did I say barrel of silver? Oh, that's how I did say it. Up to $121 an ounce for silver. $66 a barrel for silver. If I misspoke, I'm sorry. All right, guys, we're going to day trade the opening bell live. We'll see what we get. All right, guys, oil pushing back up. Is the music stopping? It might do a sweep going up, then probably bring it back down again. Sometimes the market does what it wants. You get Google at 340s here, 340s. I'll be interested to see what happens when they come out with these nano silver contracts based on 100 ounces instead of 1,000. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Get Bitcoin down to 87.8. 87.8. Watching breaking news here. Blackstone President Gray says, we think real estate has plenty of room to run. Musk also says Optimus 4 will be built in Texas at much higher volume. Again, Optimus 4 will be built in Texas at much higher volume. Again, oil prices spike, silver spiking. We have SNDK and Apple earnings after the closing bell today. Mastercard earnings dropped today. Spot silver hit $120 an ounce. Nasdaq's testing lows again ahead of the opening bell in 3.5 minutes. I'm not telling you what to do with Oracle. Do what you want to do. Buy, sell. I don't freaking know what you should do. I'll probably stay in mine, but it's a small position of only 10 shares. So what you want to do with Oracle is up to you, obviously. Yeah, Nasdaq's cracking lows of the day here. Bitcoin's falling back down now. Bitcoin's falling back down. It's at 87.70s or 87.7s. Nasdaq cracked lows, and really, again, Nasdaq has been trending down all day. Oil, silver pushing up this morning after Iran basically announced that the Strait of Hormuz might be closed next week because of drills they're doing, and that supplies a large percentage of the world's oil. So scarcity worries causing oil prices to spike and silver to go up as well. Nasdaq just cracked lows again here. We got 2.5 minutes left until the market opens, guys. 2.5 minutes. I'm gonna throw it in sub-only mode right now. Sub-only mode. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. Subscribers, announce yourself. Show us you're supportive here. We appreciate it. Again, 2 minutes left, guys. 2 minutes. It's always in battleship mode. Sub-only mode is lame. Need to put it in battleship mode instead. We're in battleship mode right now, bro. Oil 66.20s. Bitcoin falling down here. It's at 87.7s here. 87.7s for Bitcoin. Silver up to 121s. Yeah, we got about a minute left. Minute left. Yeah, Bitcoin down to 87.7s. Nasdaq's been cracking low. Silver, oil pushing up. Yeah, when my relatives reach out to me asking to buy something, asking if they should buy something, it's usually not a good sign. Again, when Dogecoin was at 75 cents, 74 cents or whatever it went to, my mom messaged me and said, "Hey, John, I'm thinking about buying Dogecoin." And I told her no. I was like, "Hey, Mom, don't do it," basically. She didn't end up doing it. And then Dogecoin, I don't know what it's at now, like 15 cents or something. So, Mom, if you're listening, you're welcome here, okay? You're welcome. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. We got 10 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. And let's see what we get today. There's the bell. Nasdaq still cracking lows here as we fall. And now we're spiking up immediately. Again, we're watching oil, we're watching silver, silver dipping down, Bitcoin bouncing back up. I'm curious to see what Meta does here. Meta is making some moves right now. Look at Meta here. Meta up to 740s. Been creeping up all morning. I am in Meta right now. 740s for Meta. Looks like it wants to break the highs of pre-market, which are at 743 basically. Just broke highs of pre-market for Meta up. 744 is the highs of the day now. Again, Meta cracked highs and then now it's pulling back some here. Bitcoin bouncing back up a little bit as well. You get Meta up there. Meta bounces at the volume weighted average price. You get Nasdaq creeping, Meta creeping up. All right, so now we're retracing back down a little bit after spiking a little bit higher here. Now it's looking red this morning. I gotta wait at least 2 more minutes before I trade. At least 2 more minutes. Meta's starting to correct back down here. Might take. Here's AMD. Look at AMD making moves. I might take a little bit of profit in Meta right now, to be honest. Not big. I mean, you know what? Home Depot. We bought the dip at Home Depot yesterday. I'll probably take a little bit of profit in that too. Actually, where we at now? We can probably get out. Depot's right here. I can probably cut what, like 15 shares of this right now. Go. Um, Oracle's still weak. So is Netflix. Probably just leave those to stay. Oracle break it down some more. I'll give it some time though. Here's Netflix. Netflix falling down more. Nvidia spiking up to 193s almost. I don't want to buy this here. What time is it? Okay, I still need to wait about a minute left. I can take a little profit in Meta, bro. I don't need to be a Meta purist here. I mean, anytime I'm up that much, bro, I was in Meta at $600. Dude, I'm still, you know what I mean? Like, I was in Meta at $600. You're telling me I shouldn't take profit up $150 a share, bro? I could take some off and still hold it. You know? You'll be all right. You get Alphabet pulling back a little bit. Look at Nvidia's spike here, though. Getting a little tempted to buy this dip. We'll see if we get it or not, but a little tempted to buy it. How much is it? I could probably buy one. It's too late, bro. I wanted to buy it. We were traced up already. Look at Nvidia. Nvidia is the reason I'm a little more optimistic here. I'm gonna buy this dip right here. Still a little early. Might add to it here. Hope the red doesn't come in deep. If we retrace up a little bit. There we go. I don't necessarily like this rejection, but I'll play it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it. Don't. There's a little bit of a retracement. Let's see if it goes some more. I'm gonna have to cut at least half of this, I think. We'll come back to it, see what we get. Got it, too much of a breakdown. We'll wait. I might switch to a different account anyway. But Tesla shares are up again after the bell, though. Where's oil at? What's oil doing? It's still at 66. Did Meta end up coming down with stuff too? It's down a little bit. Gotta buy this now again. Yeah, we're just getting beat up trying to short. Now I just gotta wait. Look at this red. Yikes. They get Alphabet breaking down. Home Depot's honestly retraced all the way back up there. Bad. We are gonna switch to Combine here. Let's see if we'll play with this now. The range is honestly pretty large. Look at this red action at the opening bell, though. It's not. It doesn't look good, but definitely got some red here, but the red should retrace back up. Yeah, Home Depot is trying to fight its way back up there too. Let's see if it does. A lot of red right now in markets, guys. A lot of red. Silver coming down. Bitcoin breaking down 87,490s here. 87,490s. Deep red here. Okay, look, we're gonna try to buy this red now. I mean, look, we got a big red candle. We might as well. Okay, it's a Combine account. We're gonna see if we can just risk it here and make a couple bucks. Speaking of crashes, yeah, Microsoft again is part of the reason. Meta's coming down. Microsoft is as well. 430s. I think me taking profit on Meta's probably the right move. I didn't end up buying this Microsoft dip. Sometimes I'll buy like these big brutal pullbacks. I didn't end up doing it on Microsoft here. So this is a combine account, so I can actually risk it, and it's not. I'm not taking too much risk playing this here. If we get eliminated, we get eliminated. There we go. We're green. There we go. Nice. We're up about 900. You love to see it. Pushing higher. A little bit more. Got that right there. Made about 1100 there. A buy back here on this mini pullback. See if we can push up more. We got a huge cushion here, so we're not going to lose too much money if it doesn't go in my way. But still hoping it does. I think it's got a little room to the upside. Just depends on if the bears really pick up here. Looking for something with a big range, and we have a cushion to justify it, but I'd rather not have to add to this. I want to see if 26 holds it up. I think 26,000 is a big level here. So we could probably look to see if we get a bounce at 26K. We did bounce off of 2616. There we go. Look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin's spiking up right now as well. I don't think we have any economic data later on today, too. We have durable. We got factory orders coming out in 20 minutes. It's not a huge release, though. Really not. All right, we're going to start unloading a lot of this here in the profit. Go. So we took most of that off. Alphabet's still breaking down. Look at Microsoft still here. Silver bounced exactly at the 200 exponential. I might start playing commodities in terms of like. Again, I might start playing commodities just in terms of how well they respond to the 200 exponential. Because look at silver, man. It literally exactly at the 200 exponential. Here. We're out. We're up about 1200. I want to see if we get this here. Maybe I'll be a greedy push in here, but man. Go. Go. All right. We've made enough on this one. We bounce at 26,000. Nasdaq's right at 26K. Right at 26K. I'm actually green on Home Depot. Nice. We did take some off of it earlier, but I think that was justifiable. Netflix is kind of the volatile one right now. It was Meta. Here's the breakdown. We're right around 26,000 here. There's 26K. I'm going to add here, see if we get a little pop quickly. A little scalp if we can get it. Not. Small. Go. Here we go. All right, we're out. We're going to switch accounts to a different one now. Really try to do the same thing. $26,000 again. I'm gonna buy this again, see if we get it. This is a different account now, so don't judge me too much for how risky we play this. We gotta build up a cushion first, and I don't mind resetting it. I think we could bounce at 26,000. Big psychological level. Right at 26K now. Problem is, we flush under this, it's probably not looking good. So. Yeah, we're flushing under it, but maybe we'll retrace back up. Bitcoin coming back down too. Again, what's breaking down, honestly, is Alphabet. Look at Google right here. Yeah, so I lost this one. Again, it's just a combine account, which is what we kind of pivoted to trading. If we lose much on our other account on the day, I don't want to risk too much. So, do another one. All right, let's try again. Oh, wait, I don't want to give back that one. All right, so we're back over. If we hold back over 26,000, I'll try to buy the dip again. But there's a lot of red coming in and a lot of different things. Again, specifically Alphabet, Meta, Google. Here's Meta. Meta's giving back. Looks like I took some profit at the right time. Now look at us under 26,000 now, guys. Nasdaq giving it back. That rhymed. Silver, 120 an ounce, trying to hold there. I trade silver right now. Let's try it. I'll have some fun with silver right now. I'm gonna do micro silver. Silver's right at 120. I think I'm gonna buy this. Oh my goodness. Made $1,000 in about 5 freaking seconds, bro. I took 5 micro contracts of silver, dude. Look at this trade. Look at this. I literally made $1,000 in like 5 seconds. Look at this. $1,000 just now. Ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous, dude. All right, I guess my silver trading's done for the day. What a range, man. What a range. I'm gonna go back to micro Nasdaqs, which is my home. Nasdaq, as we speak here, dumping down, dumping down. Look at this. Look at the Nasdaq fall here. We do have a level at 925s that I might play with. I just gotta make sure I don't accidentally buy silver. All right, we're gonna liquidate a lot of this here in the green. Whatever that level is, top 3 level ever here. Gonna liquidate more. Here we go. We're gonna take some more off of this. Add back to the level here. We have a cushion now. Scale in. Have to unload some more up here on this bounce. Go. Do not copy me, guys. Especially not today. Not an investment professional. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Do not copy me today. I mean, don't copy me any day, but definitely don't do it now. Yeah, whatever your idea is to copy me, just don't do it. We're gonna unload into profit here a little bit. There we go. All right, we got a little rise here. The Nasdaq is running into some resistance too. It just depends on how much. There we go. That's good. Better. Or a little bit of support, I mean. Next running into. Got a big green candle here. Let's see how big we bounce back. There we go. More off. All right, so far so good. If we get a little dip here, we're pushing back up to 26,000 right now. So 26K is right here on the Nasdaq. And gold over $5,500 an ounce. We got factory orders going live at 8:30. All right, so we are back over 26,000. Now we're not, but we were. What happens now? Yeah, we do have SanDisk and Apple earnings after the closing bell. We got Apple SanDisk earnings after the close today. That should give some volatility as well, just because of everything going on. Nasdaq rejecting at 26,000. Maybe I should have stayed in there. It's all right. We get a little pop back up, I'll short it again. Need a decent retracement though, quickly. Yeah, let's add a little bit up here if it keeps retracing back up. Still some of this retracement came here. Too big of a retracement. I mean, we'll be risky with it. All right, there we go. Top 3 riskiest trader in the world right now. Much time we got? 9 minutes. So we're pulling back down to lows here. Back down to 925 is still if it holds. Bitcoin breaking down, Meta breaking down, silver correcting down to the 120 area, 119s. Again, getting some red today for sure. Definitely a red day right now. So we definitely have a red day as we speak today. All right, guys. So we got the Apple CEO speaking to. Nasdaq just cracked lows of the day, 25.9s, under 26,000. Bitcoin is still falling down. We're at 87.2s here, 87.2s. We do have factory orders going live in about 6 minutes here, 6 minutes. Nasdaq bouncing back up a little bit here. And we're still waiting here. We got factory orders 4 minutes here, 4 minutes. You guys red or green today? I'm red in my portfolio. I think I'm red in my futures trading too. So, thus is life. Okay. I think that 925 causes us to bounce again. I'm waiting for it, but all right, guys, we're still breaking down here, still waiting. Bitcoin all the way down to 87,000. Bitcoin's still tumbling here, chat. Green? Hey, green is good, man. Green is good. We'll see if the green continues. Nasdaq testing lows of the day again here. Again. $25.9's holding solid here. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna get out of here. I genuinely think I'm gonna get out of here. I don't want to give too much back in the markets. We'll see if the market continues to break down here, though. Again, we'll see if the market continues to break. It's looking a little rough right now. You know, a little rough. We'll see if it holds. But yeah. Do we hold here, guys? Do we hold? Let me know. Do we keep flushing down here? Get this ready to redirect you guys. Again, we got Apple and SanDisk earnings after the closing bell today. So we do have Apple and SanDisk earnings after the closing bell. We will be covering this live. We're going to start the stream, you know, around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock market time. About an hour before they drop. We'll cover the release of the earnings as well. And yeah, I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks so much. Markets are down. Sorry, I'm kind of scheduling like the stream in the background here, so I'm trying to get all this running before I close it down. So I hope you guys understand. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. And yeah, see you guys later. Good luck, guys. Remember, I'm not an investment professional. Be careful today. Not liable if you lose money. Y'all stay safe today. Understand all this stuff.